Shalom, everyone, and welcome once again to Just a Word. Chazak Eliyahu here, along with George, Amakai, Yaziel, and the rest of the family as we go into another Shabbat teaching. Is on? As we go into another teaching. Now, today, we are going to go into Ezekiel 20. You know, almost every week, we look into Ezekiel 20. And almost every week, we just do a little part of it. Today, we're going to do all of it. And we are going to see, you will be surprised how much we have gone over these verses so many times and how many secrets are hidden in it, how many messages we are missing or we have been missing. And the whole, and how it brings into perspective teachings that we have done over the past few weeks. So, yeah, let's just begin right away. All right, so we will start at Ezekiel 20, verse 1. Now, normally we will go in from precept to precept upon precept. Today, we will be doing more looking into the meanings of the word to get more understanding. And so here we go. We'll start at verse 1. Oh, sorry about that. I had to restart the machine, so the Bible is not yet up. So we'll start at verse 1. I'm telling you that this chapter here, very, very interesting. Very interesting chapter. All right, is the Bible up as yet? Not yet. Oh yes, slowly coming up. All right, in the meantime, George, can you read Ezekiel 20?
Verse 1.
Starting at verse 1 until this thing initializes.
And it came to pass in the 7th year, in the 5th month, the 10th day of the month, that certain of the elders of Yasharal came to inquire of Yahuwah and sat before me.
All right, hold on. This thing is taking a time, T, to come up. I want to let it come up first. All right, so we are a little late because we had a power cut here, load shedding. There had been no power from this morning, and we were not certain if it would get on, but a little after 4 it came on. So we are a little behind. Okay, finally came up. Ezekiel, what did I say? Ezekiel 20?
20 verse 1.
All right, the book of Ezekiel, chapter 20, verse 1. Read it again, please.
And it came to pass in the 7th year, in the 5th month, the 10th day of the month, that certain of the elders of Yasharal came to inquire of Yahuwah and sat before me.
So the elders came to inquire of Alua. 7, 5, and 10. Remember those numbers, Yazir? Later. Yeah? All right, verse 3.
Son of man.
No, verse 2, sorry.
Then came the word of Yahuwah unto me, saying, Son of man, speak unto the elders of Yasharal, and say unto them, Thus says Yahuwah Eluah, Are ye come to inquire of me? As I live, says Yahuwah Eluah, I will not be inquired of by you. Wilt thou judge them?
No, 3. Stop at 3. All right, so the elders came to inquire of Yahuwah. And Yahuwah said to Yechezkel, Are ye come to inquire of me? As I live, saith Yahuwah Eluah, I will not be inquired of by you. What does it mean to inquire of Yahuwah? Let's go inquire. Where is Ezekiel? Oh, I just remember I didn't set this up either. No, this is not the one. This one. What did I just say? Look at the Bible. All right, sorry for the delay again. The power cut has thrown everything out. Everything out. So we are behind in almost everything. All right, so let me get this thing going. All right, so what did we say again? Ezekiel 20.
Yes.
So we're going to use the Blue Letter Bible to get more into the meaning of the words, which is going to give us more indication. Inquire. Yeah, so we're going to look into the meaning of the word inquire there. Let me check if it is online. Yes. Inquire. You come to inquire. That's H1875. Inquire is from the Hebrew word darash. It means to seek, to inquire, to require, to search. So they came to seek Yahuwah. And in Jeremiah 29:13 it says, "And ye shall seek me and find me when you shall search for me with all your heart." Well, that's a very simple statement. If we search for him with all our hearts, we will find him. But if we do not search for him with all our hearts, we will not be found of him. So if we come to inquire and all our hearts are not in it, he will not respond to us. That's what he's saying in Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 3. Let me go back there again. Verse 3. "Son of man, speak unto the elders of Yasharal, and say unto them, Thus saith Yahuwah Alua, are ye come to inquire of me? As I live, saith Yahuwah Alua, I will not be inquired of by you. Because they are not searching for him with all their hearts. They are not clean, they are not seeking out his righteousness. He will not listen to them. He will not speak to them." And I'm telling you that this is a mirror of what is happening today. People are in false religion inquiring of Yahuwah, saying that they're going to be seeking out Yahuwah. And later on, we're going to tell you and show you what Yahuwah does when he refuses to be inquired of by us. He is going to make us believe a lie. This is Christianity right here. You don't need to go any further than Christianity. They come to inquire of Yahuwah, but they don't inquire with all their hearts. Or else he would have opened up and showed them his word, his truth. But because they're half-hearted, he says, I will not be inquired of by you. And we're going to show why. The condition in which he will be inquired of by us. The condition in which we can go and seek him. And this was a teaching, I think, last week or the week before, when we spoke about the importance of the sins of our fathers. Yeah. Read verse 4.
"Wilt thou judge them, son of man? Wilt thou judge them? Cause them to know the abominations
of their
fathers.
So what is he saying? Don't come and search and seek me out until you can know and accept the abomination of your fathers. Then I will not listen to you. What does it say about today? When we go and speak Yasharal, the awakening, who we are, the children of Yasharal, most people want to refuse it. The Christians reject it. It doesn't matter who you are. How can you cause them to know the abominations of their fathers if they reject their fathers? So most of us seeking the Most High today will not find him, because we will not go back and accept the abominations of our fathers. So when people say, oh, Israel is not important, it doesn't matter who you are. That is spiritual suicide. Cause them to know the abominations of their fathers. And in today, many people don't realize, and I didn't realize until I started to study this, Ezekiel 20 shows the entire process of our awakening, everything that we are going through. We first have to turn to him. How, using myself for example, how did this begin? I begun in Christianity, in the abomination of Christianity, went into churchianity, into a sacred name assembly. Then I realized who I was. Then I turned to the Most High for who I was and accepted it. And then everything else is happening. Most people who are here, it is the same process in terms of Christianity, then realize who they are, then they turn to the Most High. This is the process. This is the process. Continue, verse 5.
And say unto them, Thus says Yahuwah Eluah.
Hold on, let me get to verse 5. No, yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
And say unto them, Thus says Yahuwah Eluah, in the day when I chose Yasharal, and lifted up mine hand unto the seed of the house of Jacob, and made myself known unto them in the land of Mitzrayim. Then I lifted up mine hand unto them, saying, I am Yahuwah your Eluah.
All right, hold on. I'm having some technical things here. Let me make sure that, okay, it's good. All right. So he's telling us to go back to this. All right? The sins of our fathers. Continue.
In the day that I lifted up mine hand unto them, to bring them forth of the land of Egypt into a land that I had espied for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the splendour of all lands. Then said I unto them, Cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am Yahuwah your Eluah.
So when we return to the Most High, when we go back to him, he wants us to clear out every single luggage, every single baggage that was with us. All the false worship that was with us, we have to get rid of it. No remnants of the false worship. Continue.
But they rebelled against me, and would not hearken unto me. They did not every man cast away the abominations of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them, to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt.
All right, so we're going to look at that fury later on, but continue.
But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known unto them, in bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt.
All right, look at verse 9 there. We're going to do word searches, and which word do you think we're going to use from verse 9? The word wrought. Read it again, what he wrought.
But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen.
All right, very important. I wrought for my name's sake. Let me tell you something. Let me get the meaning first, and then we'll talk. Wrought. So, that is, let me go back to the Blue Letter Bible, verse 9. Might be going a little slower because I'm not used to this. Let me see how I do it. Okay. Verse 9. What's happening? Yeah, verse 9. All right. But I wrought for my name's sake. The wrought there is H6213. It's a Hebrew word asa, which means to do, to make, wrought, deal, commit, offer, execute, keep, show, prepare, work, to do so, perform, and it continues. But the operative word there is to work and to make. Let me go down here and we'll see it. To do, to work, to make. So what the Most High did is that he did a work in us for his name's sake, for our foreparents. And what did he do? He transformed the evil hearts into people of righteousness. When the Most High wrought with us for his name's sake, he takes us, and this is what I want us to understand. He takes us and puts us through all sorts of things to change us for his name's sake, not for our sake, for his name's sake. So that when these people have been perfected, they will bring splendor to his name. The other nations will see them as being righteous. That is what happened when he brought his people out of Egypt. Put them through the wilderness. And it's the same thing with us. This is what we're going through, people. He's going to wrought with us for his name's sake. He is going to change us and transform us. Take out all of the dirt out of us. And it's not going to be a pleasant experience. As it was not a pleasant experience for our brothers, our fathers coming out of the wilderness. So let's look at wrought for his name's sake in more detail. I wrought for my name's sake. Let's look at his name blasphemed among the Gentiles. Deuteronomy 28 verse 36. Let's get more understanding of why he will wrought with us for his name's sake.
Yahuwah shall bring thee and thy king.
Verse 36.
Yahuwah shall bring thee and thy king which thou shalt set over thee unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations whither Yahuwah shall lead thee.
So this is a curse that we are under. He brought us out of the land and brought us into strange foreign lands, especially those of us over the western side of the world, so that we serve gods of wood and stone, idols of wood and stone. JC and God, we were made to serve. And it says, thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword. That means people will mock us, people will laugh at us, and we will be belittled, and the Most High's name will be blasphemed, because the people are going to say, here are the people of the Most High. Ezekiel 36, verse 20 to 38.
And when they...
Hold on, please. You're going too fast.
Sorry.
Ezekiel 36, verse 20. 36. Verse 20 to 38. Start, please.
And when they entered unto the heathen whither they went, they profaned my Kadesh name, when they said to them, these are the people of Yahuwah, and are gone forth out of his land.
So we blaspheme the name of Yahuwah when in our wretched state, under the curses, doing all sorts of abominable things. They are saying, oh, these are the people of the Most High, and he sent them out of their land. Verse 21.
But I had pity for mine Kadesh name, which the house of Yasharal had profaned among the heathen whither they went.
This is the process that we're going through right now. In the awakening, he has had pity for his holy name's sake, which we have profaned when we were sent among the heathen. Yes? And even when the heathen came among us, we were profaned because we worshipped their gods, and they were laughing, mocking at us as we worshipped their Jesus Christ and their God. Okay? So he said he had pity for his set apart name, and this is what he is going to do because he had pity for his name. Verse 22.
Therefore say unto the house of Yasharal, thus says Yahuwah Eluah, I do not this for your sakes, O house of Yasharal, but for mine set apart name's sake, which ye have profaned among the heathen whither ye went.
And us as well now, as we are in this phase, being called out and set apart, we have to know within our hearts and mind that the Most High is not doing a work in us. It's not because of us. It's not because of our righteousness or anything. The Most High is doing it for his name's sake. That is why when it comes to purging, he will purge. If we are not giving honor to his name, not responding to his call, to his changes, through to his ruach, if we are not responding, he's gonna cast us away easily, because he's not doing it for us. Don't get it twisted and let us get headlight. Oh, he loves me so much and everything. He's doing it for his name's sake, because we, our fathers, polluted his name among the heathen. Verse 23.
And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am Yahuwah, says Yahuwah Eluah, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes.
All right, so we are actually being used to be sanctified before the heathen. So, like we know, the Most High has us in a process right now. We are at the phase where he's cleaning us up. So he's cleaning us up so that when we are sanctified before the heathen, we will give splendor to his name. Right now, we do not give splendor to his name. And people will know us and see us in the awakening and think that at this phase we are supposed to be perfected, giving splendor to his name and everything. No, we are in a process. It's a process of cleansing, of changing, okay, of perfection. Verse 24.
For I will take you from among the heathen.
There we go.
And gather you out of all countries, and will bring you into your own land.
So there's a 3-part process. I will take you out from among the heathen. So those of us who heeded to the call of fleeing out of the midst of Babylon are taken out from among the heathen, and gather you out of all countries. That's the phase that we are at. And bring you into your own land. We have not been actually being brought into your own land, because you have not been brought into the land. And the Most High says, okay, you are here, you're home. All right? Just like Abraham, we are sojourning in a land that is to be ours, but it has not yet been given to us. Verse 25.
Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I cleanse you.
Now, what is the clean water here? The clean water is what?
The word.
The ruach. All right? You will sprinkle clean water, the ruach, upon you, and you shall be clean. So that which we are going through is this process, being cleaned from all your filthiness and from all our idols. So different people will be going through different phases of troubles, trials, whatever. It is to cleanse us. Not to condemn us, but to cleanse us, to purge us around. And verse 26 is telling us that our consciences will be transformed. Verse 26.
A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit or ruach will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and will give you an heart of flesh.
Heart of flesh is a good conscience. Very sensitive to right and wrong. When we are at this phase and we hear and we realize that we are wrong, we'll be totally convicted. Yeah? A heart of flesh. Easily. When you touch flesh sinks easily. When you have stone is stiff-necked heart. So if we're at the stage of stiff-neckedness, then we do not have this heart of flesh. Verse 27.
And I will put my ruach within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them.
What the Most High is actually doing, connecting this to Ezekiel 20, it is that our fathers have sinned against him, and he never ever lets go of the generation of the children of Yasharal because of the promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So we, his children, he takes us back to do it again. To bring us back into the wilderness, this time the wilderness of the people, as we're going to look at. And then when he brings us into the wilderness, then we would have overcome. And we will no longer ever go back to where we were, because he will give us a seal of the Ruach, and we will no longer be able to go back into foolishness. Continue.
And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your Eluah.
So that's the process. Verse 29.
I will also save you from all your uncleannesses, and I will call for the corn, and will increase it, and lay no famine upon you.
All right, go to verse 32 again. He reminds us, 32.
Not for your name's sake do I this, says Yahuwah Eluah. Be it known unto you. Be ashamed and confounded for your own ways, O house of Yasharal.
So it's not for our sakes he does it, for his name's sake. Romans 2:22. Romans 2:22. Go ahead.
Thou that sayest...
No, what's that? Yeah. 22 to 24.
Thou that sayest a man should not commit adultery, dost thou commit adultery? Thou that abhorrest idols, dost thou commit sacrilege? Thou that makest thy boast of the law, through breaking the law dishonourest thou Eluah? For the name of Eluah is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you, as it is written.
So here we go again. If we talk the talk and don't walk the talk, then we dishonor and blaspheme the Most High's name. If we are there speaking the word and not living the word, we are blaspheming the Most High's name. Thou that boastest of the law, through breaking the law, dishonorest thou Eluah? So this is another way in which our Yahuwah's name is blasphemed among the Gentiles. So for these people as well, Yahuwah says, I will not be inquired of by you. He will not listen to these people. So, because of his name's sake, and because we have been filthy, because we have followed the ways of our fathers, and don't get it twisted, everyone, let's not get it twisted. We follow the ways of our father. We have inherited traditions of our father, religions, etc. that we're in is our parents gave it to us. The sins, the way of life, ways of life that we have has been given to us by our parents, our fathers. The Most High now has to take us for his name's sake and recreate us. So we cannot be the same persons we were. Everything that we had before has to be thrown away. We have to be new creatures, new creations. Because the old one that is there is polluted. So the Most High is going to recreate and make us new so that we can be sanctified in him before the Gentiles. That is his whole aim. So let's go. Genesis 1 verse 7. Just giving an idea of the same word there that we use wrought, and we said it actually means made. So an example of this is in Genesis 1:7. The same word, H6213. And Eluah made the firmament. Read it, please.
And Eluah made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so.
So we have to have an appreciation that the Most High is remaking us. When he says, I wrought with them for my name's sake, he is remaking us, shaping us into the image of his Son. 2 Corinthians 3:14. No, let's go to 15. 2 Corinthians 3:15.
But even unto this day, when Moses is read, the veil is upon their heart. Nevertheless, when it shall turn to Yahuwah, the veil shall be taken away.
This is this verse. No, I don't remember this one. Oh, we go to 17. Go to 17.
Now Yahuwah is that Ruach, and where the Ruach of Yahuwah is, there is liberty. But we all, with open face, beholding as in a glass the splendor of Yahuwah, are changed into the same image from splendor to splendor, even as by the Ruach of Yahuwah.
All right, so it's the spirit of the Master here, speaking about Hamashiach. Now the Master is that Ruach. And where the ruach of the master is, there is liberty. But we all with open face, beholding as in a glass the splendor of the master, are changed into the same image from splendor to splendor, even as by the Spirit of Yahuwah. So the same ruach of Alua, the ruach Mashiach, is changing us into the same image of Yahusha HaMashiach. That's what the Most High does. He recreates us into the image of his Son. That is what is taking place to us. So when you say you flee out of the midst of Babylon, understand this. It is not business as usual. It is like you are a soldier and you are being taken to boot camp. That's what happens. And the Most High is going to take you and turn you upside down. It's going to be painful sometimes. It's going to be rough. But in the end, if we go through it, we will be changed and we'll be perfected and we'll be ready to enter into the kingdom. 2 Corinthians 5:17.
Therefore, if any man be in Hamashiach, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new.
So the Most High gave us his Son Hamashiach in order to recreate us, to remake us. He wrought with us for his name's sake. So that our minds must be renewed in Hamashiach. Galatians 6:15.
For in Hamashiach Yahusha neither circumcision availeth anything, nor uncircumcision, but a new creature.
So this is why Hamashiach is important. We cannot be Old Testament only or Torah only and be recreated in the image of Hamashiach. Alright? We have to take on Hamashiach and become new creation. John 3:3.
Yahusha answered and said unto him, Truly, truly, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of Alua.
So we have to be born again, which means we must be recreated. I wrought with them for my name's sake. We have to be remade. That means the way we were in the world is the exact opposite in the Ruach. We cannot come into the way of Yahuwah and expect and use the same standard of the world to judge Yahuwah's business. It's total opposite. So the Most High is taking us and he is going to, sometimes it's going to be painful because what does the word say? Who Yahuwah loveth, he
Chastening.
and scourgeth every son whom he receives. So we're going to go through chastening, we're going to go through scourging so that we can be remade, so that in the end, when he is ready now to bring us into the kingdom, he will be sanctified in us before the heathen. So let's continue. Ezekiel 20, verse 10 to 24. Cause them to remember the sins of their fathers. Let me go there. What did I say? 20, verse 10 to 24?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is this? All right, go ahead.
Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt and brought them into the wilderness.
People, for those who flee, this is what he tells us or causes us to do. He says, I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt and brought them into the wilderness. Now, let me see if this is the time for me to interject this. Yeah. All right. So he says, I caused them to go out of Egypt. But this time, he told us that it's going to be a different thing. He told us that it's not going to be Egypt. Jeremiah. Is that what they call it, Menzi? What is that? Jeremiah. All right. Jeremiah 16, verse 14. So that time he said, out of Egypt. Let's see what it says in verse 14 of Jeremiah 16. Read it, please.
Therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahuwah, that it shall no more be said, Yahuwah liveth, that brought up the children of Yasharal out of the land of Egypt.
But
Yahuwah liveth, that brought up the children of Yasharal from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers.
All right, so it's no longer going to be Egyptian. It's going to be the land of the north. It's going to be a Babylonian collection, gathering of his people. All right? Just want to get that clear. Let's go back to Ezekiel. Verse 11.
And I gave them my statutes, and showed them my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them.
All right, so it's the same thing. I want us to look at this and understand the process, because the Most High does not change. He does everything in processes. Processes? I don't know. Yeah. Everything is a process with him. An English language boy. So, here, when he takes us and puts us into the wilderness, he will give us instructions. He will give us instructions. All right. Verse 12.
Moreover also I gave them my Shabbat, that they might know that I am Yahuwah.
And everywhere to repent. All right. So let's go back. 14.
But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, in whose sight I brought them out.
All right, so he wrought for his name's sake. So he took them and he brought them through all sorts of things in order to perfect them. Verse 15.
Yet also I lifted up my hand unto them in the wilderness, that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the splendor of all lands.
So hear this now. You see, even though he takes the time to recreate us, to remake us, he wrought with us, there are still some of us who is not going to enter into the land. There are still some of us, even though he brings us through all sorts of things, there are still some who will not make it. He says, yet also I lifted up my hand unto them in the wilderness, that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them. So the wilderness is the precursor to entering into the land. Verse 16.
Because they despised my judgments, and walked not in my statutes, but polluted my Shabbats, for their heart went after their idols.
So in verse 33 coming up, we're going to look at the wilderness of the people. He is reminiscing on what happened then, but he's going to tell you that he's going to have a different wilderness now, the wilderness of the people. So if we don't walk in obedience to him, then just as before, we will not enter into the land. And many of us, most of us, are going to want to be purged, to be cleansed, to be changed around, to be transformed. If we do not allow ourselves to be transformed, then we will not be able to enter into the land. Verse 17.
Nevertheless, mine eye spared them from destroying them, neither did I make an end of them in the wilderness. But I said unto their children in the wilderness, walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgments, nor defile yourselves with their idols.
So let us go back to this now. Let us get this understanding. They were to be destroyed physically, but he did not destroy them physically. But what did he do? He made them die natural lives, but still they could not enter into the land. He did not destroy them, but they could not enter. So he gave their children the opportunity to enter. Continue.
I am Yahuwah your Eluah. Walk in my statutes, and keep my judgments, and do them. And hallow my Shabbats, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am Yahuwah your Eluah.
So if no one who hallows his Shabbat, no one who does not hallow his Shabbat, who does not keep his Shabbat holy or set apart, none of these can be his people. and hallow my Shabbats, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am Yahuwah your Alua. So without the Shabbat, we cannot know that he is Yahuwah or Alua. Verse 21.
Notwithstanding, the children rebelled against me. They walked not in my statutes, neither kept my judgments to do them. Which if a man do, he shall even live in them. They polluted my Shabbats. Then I said, I would pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the wilderness.
Continue.
Nevertheless, I withdrew my hand, and wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted in the sight of the heathen, in whose sight I brought them forth. I lifted up my hand also in the wilderness, that I would scatter them among the heathen, and disperse them through the countries, because they had not executed my judgments, but had despised my statutes, and had polluted my Shabbats, and their eyes were after their fathers' idols.
So today, if we are in the wilderness of the people, and we despise his statutes, pollute his Shabbats, and do not execute his judgment, he is not going to let us into the land. It says, I lifted up mine hand up unto them also in the wilderness, that I would scatter them among the heathen. So though we are gathered, he says he will scatter us. Because of our fathers' idols, because we were not transformed. We were living in the sins of our fathers. Therefore, verse 25, very important verse now.
Wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live.
Very, very important here. Very important.
And I polluted them. Sorry.
Why are you running, George? Very important. I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. So he gave them judgments for them to die. You see, when we are gathered together in the wilderness, anywhere you are, and I don't know where the Most High will gather you, wherever you are gathered, if we do not want to obey the will of and the way of the Most High is going to blind us, allow us to be blinded, and to be given false doctrines and doctrines that are not good, doctrines that are going to destroy us. When he gives us his way and we refuse and reject it, we are going to find our own way. And that own way is going to lead us to destruction. Read 25 into 26, please. Wherefore
I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. And I polluted them in their own gifts, in that they caused to pass through the fire all that opened the womb, that I might make them desolate, to the end that they might know that I am Yahuwah.
That I might make them desolate. So in this, the second Exodus, we have to be very careful of not walking in the Most High's ways. Because if we are not walking in his ways, he himself is going to give us false teachings to believe. He is going to give us false teachings to believe, so as to make us desolate. And of course, we have precedents. Psalms 81, 11 to 12. Hold on, please. Psalms 81, 11 to 12 show precedents that this is how the Most High operates. Psalms 81, 11 to 12.
But my people would not hearken to my voice, and Yasharal would none of me. So I gave them up unto their own heart's lust, and they walked in their own counsels.
You see? If we don't want to hear him, if we reject him, he is going to give us what we desire. And we will walk in our own counsels, whatever we plan, whatever doctrines we come up with. That is what he's going to make us believe. Yes? Very, very important. And we have the precedence, of course, in 2 Thessalonians 2, 9 to 12. Again, even in the New Testament, we have to prove it in the New Testament that this is what he is going to do to us. 2 Thessalonians 2, start of verse 9.
Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved.
And what is the Most High going to do now if we don't love the truth? If we don't love the truth and we don't want to hear what the Most High has to say, let's see what the Most High is going to do to us.
And for this cause Eluah shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned, who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness.
But had pleasure in unrighteousness. And we go to 2 Kings again to show the depths of how far the Most High will go in order to make us be destroyed. 1 Kings 22. Sorry. 1 Kings 22.
Verse 20.
Hold on. I'll tell you when. 1 Kings 22 starting at verse 20. Read, please.
And Yahuwah said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner.
So the Most High now wants to destroy Ahab. And he's saying to these spirits, which one of you is going to persuade Ahab that he be destroyed? Verse 21.
And there came forth a spirit, and stood before Yahuwah, and said, I will persuade him. And Yahuwah said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, thou shalt persuade him, and prevail also. Go forth, and do so.
23.
Now therefore, behold, Yahuwah hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets, and Yahuwah hath spoken evil concerning thee.
So if we don't want to respond to the Most High, he can even send a lying ruach unto us to deceive us so that we be destroyed, so that we'll believe all sorts of false doctrines. That's how serious this thing is. Let's go back to Ezekiel 20. Verse 25 again.
Wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. And I polluted them in their own gifts, in that they caused to pass through the fire all that openeth the womb, that I might make them desolate, to the end that they might know that I am Yahuwah.
Let me tell you something, people. Anyone that is fleeing and you are gathered together, you can't take away this blueprint. All of these warnings are for us. When the Most High gathers us together, it is to perfect us so that his name is not blasphemed among the Gentiles. If we don't take his counsel, if we don't listen to him, all of these things are possible. Continue.
Therefore,
no,
verse 27.
Yeah, verse 27. Huh? See if I can put it somewhere. I don't know. Oh, it's gone. It's okay now. It's green. It goes up and down. Yeah, go ahead.
Ezekiel 20, verse 27. Therefore, Son of man, speak unto the house of Yasharal, and say unto them, thus says Yahuwah Eluah, yet in this your fathers have blasphemed me, in that they have committed a trespass against me.
All right, so let me tell you something now. Notice he says, they have blasphemed me, in that they have committed a trespass against me. Everything before the Most High is always current. The reason he has us, the descendants of these people who created all of this mess, is to undo the mess. Because the mess that they have done is still current with him. They have committed a trespass against me. He did not say they had. they have, it is still current with him. That's why it says, I am the Alua of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He didn't say I was. I am. Present continuous tense. It's right before him at all times. So this same feeling that he has is still there. So when he takes us now, their children, and brings us there again, we have to know that what happened to them can happen to us again. But this time, it will be more spiritual. Okay? Verse 28.
For when I had brought them into the land, for the which I lifted up mine hand to give it to them, then they saw every high hill, and all the thick trees, and they offered there their sacrifices, and there they presented the provocation of their offering. There also they made their sweet savour, and poured out there their drink offerings. Then I said unto them, What is the high place whereunto ye go? And the name thereof is called Bamah unto this day. Wherefore say unto the house of Yasharel, Thus says Yahuwah Eluah, Are ye polluted after the manner of your fathers, and commit ye whoredom after their abominations? For when ye offer your gifts, when ye make your sons to pass through the fire, ye pollute yourselves with all your idols, even unto this day. And shall I be inquired of by you, O house of Yasharal? As I live, says Yahuwah Eluah, I will not be inquired of by you.
All right, so it says, Say unto the house of Yasharal, Thus saith Yahuwah, Are you polluted after the manner of your fathers? The same thing with us. Are we polluted after the manner of our fathers? Yes, we are polluted, but we have to be changed. All right? He swore in verse 31, As I live, I will not be inquired of by you. So if you continue in the ways of your fathers, I don't want to hear anything from you. Because I'm still angry with what they have done, for what they have done. And you are there to change everything, and you refuse to be changed. I don't want to hear anything from you. Verse 32.
And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all, that ye say, We will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone.
No. What is this saying here? The Most High is declaring to the descendants of the children of Israel. He's saying, this thing that you're talking about, be as the heathen and serve JC and God and serve Allah, to serve wood and stone. He says, don't let that come into your mind. So we are deceived, or people are deceived, thinking that they can be worshipping these gods, the gods that our fathers gave us, the abominations of our fathers, and still believe that the Most High will accept us. Verse 32 says, I will not accept you. All right, so let's go to the second Exodus. This is the part now, the meat. What we just got was a foundation. The foundation of why certain things happen and what will happen. So let's go to the second Exodus. Ezekiel 20 verse 33. Let me go there, please. Because we're going to go and look into certain verses. Verse 33. All right. Start, please. Verse 33.
As I live, says Yahuwah Eluah, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you.
All right. So we're going to look. We go into these things, but we're going to go deeper into this. And it's very, very, very informative and very revealing. Notice what he said. With a mighty hand, we're going to look what that means. With a stretched out arm, we're going to look at what that means. And with fury poured out, we're going to look at what that means. Will I rule over you? We're going to look at what that means. So let's begin. And our look is, we're going to look at mighty hand and stretched out arm to get an understanding of what he is speaking about. Deuteronomy 4:34. Deuteronomy 4:34. Wait, I had something to look at the meaning, but where is it? Read it, please.
Or hath Allure essayed to go, and take him a nation from the midst of another nation by temptations, by signs, and by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according to all that Yahuwah your Allure did for you in Egypt before your eyes?
All right, so we need to go and look at what that mighty hand actually means. I can't know why I left it out. It was more detailed than this. Let me see if we can get anything from this. With a mighty hand. And the word mighty. I think we didn't need mighty. No, we need mighty. So let's go. We're going to look at hand. Let's look at the meaning of hand as used there. Because we want to get an understanding of what the Most High is saying. The word hand, from the Hebrew word yad, it is hand of man, strength, power. So the mighty hand, the hand is figuratively referring to power. Power. So with a mighty power, and let's look at the stretched out arm now. It's well again, 30. Yeah. Let's look at the stretched out arm. Remember, mighty power. Stretched out. What does stretched out mean? Stretch out. To stretch out, extend, stretch, offer. To spread out. We're going to want to see the spiritual meaning of it. To hold out, to spread out, to be stretched out. All right, so that doesn't tell us what we need to do. Let me see, it's not a primitive root. We need to go to the root of it. I don't find it. All right, I don't have it because I lost what I had. And I'm trying to find it, see if I can find it back. But I cannot find it back. All right, anyway. So we looked at stretched out. And let's look at arm. The meaning of arm. So stretched out is like extended. Let's look at the meaning of arm. The word arm is from the Hebrew zerah, which means arm as symbol of strength. That's the one we want, the figurative one. Arm as symbol of strength. So with a mighty hand, with mighty power, and a stretched out arm, an arm that is a symbol of power. So by the miracles, etc., that he did, those were the mighty powers and the stretched out arm, the stretched out symbols that show that this is the great Almighty Father who is doing all of these things. And he says, will I rule over you? So let me tell you something, people. This is speaking about the wilderness, right? This is speaking about the second Exodus. This is speaking about what we are going through. Notice he says, mighty power and great an arm that stretches out with strength. Will I do what? Rule over you. The whole idea of the Most High bringing us here is to do what? Rule over us. Why does he need to rule over us? Because as much as we say we are believers and we want to follow the Most High and serve the Most High, if we are not walking in the Ruach, we cannot be subject to the law of Allure. We cannot truly serve him. So he has to take us out, set us apart, bring us through hell to transform us so that he can rule over us. If he's not ruling over us, who will be ruling us?
Satan.
Hasatan will be ruling us through our desires. So what does he do? He takes us and he tears down our desires so that we are willing to deny self and be nothing and to give up everything so that he can rule over us and we will not be imposing our own rule on him. So with a mighty hand, a stretched out arm, will I rule over you. The whole idea of the Most High bringing us here, people, is to rule over us. But if we continue to rebel as our fathers in the wilderness, he will not be able to rule over us. And if he will not be able to rule over us, we cannot enter into his kingdom. So that's why the challenge is, how much are we willing to give up in order to let him to rule over us? All right, so let me continue. Let me see where else. This is very hard to keep up with. So I looked at mighty hand and stretched out arm. Yeah, but I didn't look at second Esdras. Oh, I only looked at,
Deuteronomy 26.
Oh, it's here now. Deuteronomy 26 verse 8. Deuteronomy 26 verse 8. Continue.
And Yahuwah brought us forth out of Egypt with a mighty hand, and with an outstretched arm, and with great terribleness, and with signs, and with wonders.
But that's the hard part. But here's the good part now, verse 9.
And he has brought us into this place, and has given us this land, even a land that floweth with milk and honey.
All right. So that's the reward. The hard part, and then after the hard part, the reward. Second Esdras 15, 1-6. Second Esdras 15, 1-6. Read, please.
Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, says Yahuwah.
This is a prophecy of today, of the future. This was not of the past, a prophecy of the future. And let's see what it says, verse 2.
And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, says Yahuwah, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
Uh-huh.
For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore says Yahuwah, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually.
Yeah, verse 9 now.
And therefore says Yahuwah, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof.
All right, and remember we said that it is not going to be the Egypt of old, as Jeremiah 16:14 tells us. It will not be said Yahuwah brought the children of Yashal out of Egypt, but of the land of the north. The similitude of the Egyptian wilderness experience, but it will be a different experience from before. Continue.
Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahuwah shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with fearful constellation.
This is what the world is going to go through, and this is what the Most High is preparing us for. Continue.
Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbour, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation.
Continue.
Behold, says Yahuwah, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east to Libanus, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them.
All right, so this is when the Most High is going to turn them on themselves to get vengeance for us. Verse 21.
Like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also, and recompense in their bosom. Thus says Yahuwah Eluah. My right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth. The fire is gone forth from his wrath, and has consumed the foundations of the earth, and the sinners like the straw that is kindled. Woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, says Yahuwah.
Repeat that verse, please.
Woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, says Yahuwah.
So that is what he's preparing us for. He's preparing us to reach to a point where we do not sin, where we keep his commandments, and we will not fall in this trap. Why? So that his name be not blasphemed among the heathen, among the Gentiles. Not for our name's sake, but for his name's sake. Verse 25.
I will not spare them. Go your way, ye children, from the power. Defile not my sanctuary.
You see? Defile not my sanctuary. Because he says, I will not spare them. 26.
For Yahuwah knoweth all them that sin against him, and therefore delivereth he them unto death and destruction.
This is why we have to change, people. The Most High will be here, and he'll be nice to us, and he'll be here saying, oh, the Most High, oh, how he loves me, and oh, he's so nice to me and everything. And then, when it's time for judgment, all is said and done. What does he say in the book of Revelation? He that is filthy still. He that is holy still. Whatever state you end up in, he's so nice to you and everything, but you end up being sinful. You are going to fall if we don't come out of our sin. We are going to fall. Continue.
For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them. For Eluah shall not deliver you, because you have sinned against him.
You see? We have to be transformed. That is why it's not a stroll in the park. It has to be a real serious thing. You see, when we're in this world, as we were reading in the book of Clement, what we do for a corruptible crown. This crown is an incorruptible one that ends up with eternal life. People, we have to be willing to give up everything. Give up every single thing. Have you ever seen all the boxers train for those heavyweight championship? I remember back in the days when they take them, the training that they go through, and some of these corruptible competitions, how the people train hard for it. They actually give up their lives. They'll go up in the hills and be there for months upon months training for a boxing fight to win some money or to win a crown. They give up their lives. We also have to give up our lives in this world for this incorruptible crown. Because if we still end up being sinners, it says, for Eluah, for now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them, for Eluah shall not deliver you, because you have sinned against him. Okay? So we can stop there. And Deuteronomy 7, verse 7 to 8 tells us why. Deuteronomy 7, verses 7 to 8. Read, please.
Yahuwah did not set his love upon you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people. But because Yahuwah loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, has Yahuwah brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh king of Egypt.
So Yahuwah's love is upon us because of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob, the oath which he swore unto your fathers. And so because of that, that is why he will carry us out with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm. What about fury poured out though? What about fury poured out? Oh, this is the dangerous one. Fury poured out. Isaiah 42, 21 to 23. Let's get an understanding of what he means, that with a mighty hand, a stretched out arm, and with few report out, he will rule over us. Isaiah 21, what did I say? 21 to 23?
42, 21 to 23.
42, 21 to 23. Go ahead, please.
Yahuwah is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable.
All right, this is speaking about Hamashiach coming to magnify the law, or he came to magnify the law. Verse 22.
But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none said, Restore. Right. Who among you will give ear to this, and who will hearken and hear for the time to come?
For the time to come. This is the end time. The latter days, rather. These days. 24.
Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Yasharal to the robbers? Did not Yahuwah, he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law.
So he gave us up. Well, verse 25.
Therefore he has poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of battle, and it hath set him on fire round about. Yet he knew not, and it burned him, yet he laid it not to heart.
You know what this verse is saying? Think about our people today. Some of them, when you go to them and tell them who they are, when you tell them that we are in captivity, they say, oh, but we are not in captivity. I am okay. I am not in captivity. It says, the fury of Yahuwah is upon us, but, which has set us on fire, but we did not know, yet he knew not, and it burned us, but we did not lay it on to our hearts. So we are going through the curses, but we don't know. Who knew that they were going through the curses until you look into the book of Deuteronomy? And he said, oh, that is why this is happening. It set us on fire round about. That means everywhere our people are, this is what is happening. But we did not know. And it burned us, but we did not even take it to heart. We just thought, we thought that it was just a way of life. Yeah. So that is why his fury will be poured out upon us, or is poured out upon us, and we do not know. So when we are in the second Exodus in the wilderness, mighty hand, power, stretch out arm, and fury poured out, he's going to put on us. And the fury poured out, sadly, will be the purging. I will purge out from among you the rebels. Lamentations 2 verse 4 to give you an idea of when the Most High pours out his fury upon his people, his own people. Judgment begins at the house of Yahuwah. Lamentations 2 verse 4. This is Yahuwah.
He hath bent his bow like an enemy. He stood with his right hand as an adversary, and slew all that were pleasant to the eye in the tabernacle of the daughter of Zion. He poured out his fury like fire. With a mighty hand, a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out, he will rule over us. So when we are in this second Exodus wilderness, we have to be careful. A lot of us take this like it's a stroll in the park. It's not a simple thing. Things are happening in the spiritual realm. Judgment is being executed by the Most High, and we cannot see it. We have to live and operate as if we are actually seeing the worst of his judgment. If we do so, then we'll make corrections so that we will not get in any trouble. So this part now, will I rule over you? With a mighty hand and a stretched out arm will I rule over you. What does it mean to rule? It's the Hebrew word malak. It means to ascend the throne, causatively to induct into royalty, hence by implication to take counsel, to consult, indeed to make, set up, to make reign, to rule, surely. So he will reign over us with a mighty hand and with stretched out arm and with fury poured out. Now the next verse says, verse 34. And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out.
So now we are talking to the people who are over that side of the world. He says he will not be inquired of by you unless you call to mind the sins of your fathers. Now, what is actually happening here? When we are called to mind the sins of our fathers, and he tells us to flee out of Babylon as he told our fathers, then we would move. If we refuse to move and we sit in Babylon, we are in a problem, because the prophecy is not that I will make you stay in Babylon, I will bring you out from the people. Because the word bring, many people looking at it literally, means he will literally come and take us out. Now, the meaning of the word bring is the Hebrew word yatzah, a primitive root to go, causatively bring. Out, bring out in a great variety of applications, literally and figuratively. So it's not only to literally bring us out with someone, it's figuratively also. Which means that he will, as we showed in a teaching a few last week or week before, that he will use his ruach and cause us to come out from the people. And notice he says come out from the people. We're going to look at that. Out from the people. The people. Deuteronomy 30 verses 1 to 7. Out from the people. Because what we want to show is that the Most High is going to gather us out from the people. The people there refers to our own people. He is going to take a remnant from out of our own people. Let's go to Deuteronomy 30 verses 1 to 7. Hold on, please, George. Let me find it. Again, if you're just joining us, we're trying to show what Ezekiel 20 really means. And for us, the second Exodus. That many people, most people in this world, are over on that side of the world waiting for angels to gather them. Big, big, big mistake. Verse 1.
And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither Yahuwah thy Elohim has driven thee.
So most of us now who are listening to this, we now call to mind the blessing and the curse. We call to mind and we realize, hey, this blessing and the curse is about us. We're going to see what the Most High says should happen when the blessings and the curses are called to mind. When we call them to mind, when we are among the nations, because that's what happened to us. We were among the nations and we called it to mind. Whither Yahuwah has driven us. And verse 2 says,
And shall return unto Yahuwah thy Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul. That then Yahuwah thy Elohim will turn thy captivity, and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither Yahuwah thy Elohim hath scattered thee.
All right, so that's the process. We call to mind the blessings and the curses. We turn back to Yahuwah with all our heart, mind, and soul. Then he will gather us. So if you are over that side of the world, the western side of the world, you are missing out a part if you have not been gathered. If you are not, or if you do not intend to be gathered, you are actually missing out a stage right here, actually. So let me look at let me take a look. All right, so let's look at the word gather there. I think we looked at it somewhere else. Let's look at the word gather. Deuteronomy 30 verse 3. Let me go to the Blue Letter Bible so we can see it. Deuteronomy 30 verse 3. All right. Deuteronomy 30 verse 3. Let's look at the meaning. Yahuwah will turn thy captivity and return and gather thee. Let's look at the meaning of gather. All right, the word gather is the Hebrew word kabatz. It's the same thing. Look at the meaning: to gather or to assemble. To gather, collect, assemble. To assemble, gather, to be gathered. To gather, together. To take away, to be gathered together. Look at the meaning down here. Kabatz, a primitive root, to grasp, that is collect. Assemble selves. Gather, bring together. Bring together selves. Bring selves together. Bring selves up. So it is also speaks of an active thing that we do ourselves, not waiting on the Most High. All right. So the people, let's look at the people. He says we will gather you out from the people. And the word for people there actually refers to our own people. Let me go there. It's verse 2. I will gather you from all the nations. Where is it? No, I lost that one. All right, so the people actually are referring to our own people. We'll gather us from our own people. We said that before. And we'll gather you out of the countries. It's Ezekiel 20:34. Let me read it again. And I will bring you out from the people, take you out from your own people, will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. No, it's verse 5, it should be 35. Read verse 35, let me see if it's it. Ezekiel 20:35.
And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face.
All right, so that's where we are. Yes, 35. So bring you into the wilderness of the people. Now, many people don't stop to take note of this. I remember at the beginning when looking at this, we didn't stop to take note of it. When it says wilderness of the people. Wilderness of the people. Remember I said it's not going to be another Egypt. He's going to bring us from the land of the north and from where the countries where we are scattered. But he says he's going to bring us into the wilderness. The meaning of wilderness is the Hebrew word midbar, in the sense of driving a pasture that is open. By implication, a desert. Remember that triangle pointing? All right. By implication, a desert. But it means also speech. Look at that meaning there. Also speech. Wilderness of the people. Also speech. What do you think that is saying? Speech. The wilderness of the people involves. It is how, it is how we respond to this. To look at our experience, what has been the most profound problem? What we hear. Thank you. The word that we hear, that is what is offensive. By implication, a desert, also speech, including its organs. Desert, south, speech, wilderness. The word speech is there twice. That is the wilderness of the people, because what do? People speak. So when we come together, people will be speaking and different speaking, and it is the mouth, what is said, that is going to offend people to the point that people will rebel and people will go crazy. Now, when he brings us into the wilderness, it says, and I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Now, what does it mean, plead with you face to face?
Does that mean he's going to get right in your face?
Right in your face. The Most High's Ruach is going to speak through the people. He is going to speak through the people and will be pleading with you face to face. And I will be seeing Yazzie speaking with me, and I think it's Yazzie speaking, not having spiritual eyes open to see that it is the Ruach of the Most High that is speaking. He's not going to send down an angel and come and speak with you. It's the wilderness of the people. Literal people he's going to use. And the word speech is going to be hard at times and harsh, and it's going to be offensive at times. But that is the wilderness that we are in. So if we are sensitive, we're going to have a problem. And remember, speech judges every single string inside of us. It's going to test how we respond to every single thing. So people out there, when you are gathered together, this is what you are going to experience. And if you try to avoid it by going by yourself and setting up your own thing on your own, very sorry, but you are not in the wilderness of the people. You have relocated. You are still going to be in Babylon on your own, not in the wilderness of the people.
You quoted somewhere, we dig our own grave with our teeth.
Yeah. So we have to now reach to the point where speech does not offend us. That is our old task now. We have to reach to the point where speech does not offend us. Nothing can get us off and throw us off the path. And then he says, we plead with you face to face. The word plead comes from the Hebrew word shafat, which is a primitive root to judge. So where will he judge us? In the wilderness of the people, with speech and with people gathered together. He is going to plead with us. He's going to judge us. Says it's true. What you say, 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 that is how he's going to judge us. And he's going to bring us through different experiences to judge us. Remember, people, when we came here, we said, this is what's your weakness. The Most High brings our weaknesses on us, and we have to get over it or we're not going to survive. Because why does he attack our weakness? Because he wants us to work on our weakness so that we overcome it. If I have a weakness and I avoid dealing with it, what do you think is going to happen? When you're in the wilderness of the people, if Mercer is going to send someone to step on your corn, he's going to send someone to deal with your weakness. So it is there before your face, so you have to deal with it. Then the word plead, to judge, that is pronounced sentence for or against. By implication, to vindicate or punish. Punish. To pronounce sentence. It is the interaction of the people that is going to judge us to determine whether we enter the kingdom. It is how we handle the speech of others that's going to determine if we enter the kingdom. It might sound simple. It says, by extension, to govern. So he will be using people to govern us as well. Not only to judge us, but to govern us. Passively to litigate, literally or figuratively, avenge. So he will even be using people to avenge us, to avenge himself on us. That condemn. He will even be using people to condemn us, to contend, to defend, to execute judgment, to be a judge. He will be using people in the wilderness, speech, to do this. Reason, rule. That is how serious the word plead is. Let me read it again. I will bring you into the wilderness of the people. I will bring you into the speech of the people. And there will I judge you. There will I plead with you. There will I condemn you. There will I reason with you. Will I rule you? Will I punish you? Will I govern you? Will I litigate? Will I avenge? Will I execute? Will I do all of these things with you? But then he continues. I will cause you to pass under the rod. Read that in the next verse, please. I didn't put it up here. Forgot.
Verse 35?
We just did 35. 36.
36. Ezekiel 20, verse 36. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, says Yahuwah Eluah.
All right, and we already looked in Jeremiah to show that that is not the deliverance that we're having, the Egyptian deliverance. It will be from the land of the north, Babylon, again. Okay? So he says, I will cause you to pass under the rod. The next verse.
And I will purge out from among you.
No, I will cause you to pass under the rod. I need to get that verse.
And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. And I will purge out from among you.
No, we're not there yet. I will cause you to pass under the rod. I missed out something again. What verse is that?
Verse 37.
37. We need to look at the meaning of rod. All right. I will cause you to pass under the rod. Verse 37, we said. Oh, Ezekiel 20, verse 37. All right. I will cause you to pass under the rod. The meaning of the word rod there. Cause you to pass under the rod. Well, people, this is a study that you can go back and dig into for yourself. So the word rod there speaks of rod, staff, branch, offshoot, club, scepter. That is just physical. D gives the spiritual one, a truncheon or a scepter, mark of authority. Let me get the meaning. All right, here's the one now. Strong's definition. The meaning of the word rod is shebet, meaning to branch off, a sion, that is literally a stick for punishing. I will cause you to pass under the rod. That means he will pass through a stick that is given for punishing, for writing, for fighting, for ruling, for walking, or figuratively a clan. Correction, dart, rod, scepter, staff, tribe. So it will cause us to pass under the rod, a stick that you use for punishing, ruling, walking, correction, and it is literally a literal stick, a staff, etc. But spiritually, something for punishing, writing, ruling, walking. So he will cause us to pass under the rod. So let's look at what happens, because this is the wilderness experience. Let's look at what happened where the rod is concerned. Numbers 17 verses 1 to 3. Numbers 17, 1 to 3. We're going to go back into the wilderness and see the part that the rod plays. Numbers 17.
You got 1 to 13 there.
1 to 13.
Yeah.
Numbers 17, 1 to 13. Now, let me tell you something, people. Nothing has changed. Whatever happened in the wilderness before is going to happen again wherever the Most High gathers us. Same thing is going to happen again in a different way. Spiritually, the same thing. Read it, please.
And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Yasharal, and take of every one of them a rod according to the house of their fathers, for all their princes according to the house of their fathers, 12 rods. Write thou every man's name upon his rod. And thou shalt write Aaron's name upon the rod of Levi, for 1 rod shall be for the head of the house of their fathers. And thou shalt lay them up in the tabernacle of the congregation, or the assembly, before the testimony, where I will meet with you. And it shall come to pass that the man's rod, whom I shall choose, shall blossom, And I will make to cease from me the murmurings of the children of Yasharal, whereby they murmur against you.
All right. So here was what are consistent again. The Most High will put forward those persons who lead these assemblies wherever you are gathered, and they will be stumbling stones to the people, and they will be murmuring against the people who are in charge, and all sorts of problems will happen with those who the Most High puts in order to lead his people. So this is the case in which it happened and with Moses and Aaron. And all scripture is given to us for understanding, for learning, and for instructions in righteousness. The same thing will happen again and again. Let's go. Verse 6.
And Moses spake unto the children of Yasharal, and every one of their princes gave him a rod apiece, for each prince one, according to their fathers' houses, even 12 rods. And the rod of Aaron was among their rods. And Moses laid up the rods before Yahuwah in the tabernacle of witness. And it came to pass that on the morrow Moses went into the tabernacle of witness, and, behold, the rod of Aaron for the house of Levi was budded, and brought forth buds, and bloomed blossoms, and yielded almonds. And Moses brought out all the rods from before Yahuwah unto all the children of Yasharal, and they looked and took every man his rod. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, Bring Aaron's rod again before the testimony, to be kept for a token against the rebels, and thou shalt quite take away their murmurings from me, that they die not.
All right, so in the second Exodus, he says, I will purge out from among you the rebels. And he says, I will cause you to pass under the rod. It's the same thing he's saying in the book of Ezekiel. It is going to happen when we are in the wilderness experience. All right? There will be leaders that the people will rebel against, and that will cause the people to be purged from among the Most High's people. Verse 11.
And Moses did so as Yahuwah commanded him, so did he. And the children of Yasharal spake unto Moses, saying, Behold, we die, we perish, we all perish. Whosoever cometh anything near unto the tabernacle of Yahuwah shall die. Shall we be consumed with dying?
Shall we die? So when it comes to the Most High and the rebels, the Most High will destroy the rebels. These last two verses here, I think I had something matched up with it. I hope I remember it when it comes up to give more understanding about this part of it about dying. So the first Exodus was Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. The second Exodus is going to involve, as he said, the wilderness of the people. His people will be gathered together in the New Testament assembly. Because in the book of Jeremiah and the book of Ezekiel, he tells us that he will bring a new covenant upon the house of Judah and the house of Israel. And in the new covenant, the book of Acts gave us the model of the assembly that is in the new covenant. It is a new covenant assembly where his people will be gathered together. Not church, ecclesia, set apart assembly, where his people are gathered together in one place, living together in a set apart assembly where they are actually pitted against each other, one person against the other, with the challenge of overcoming each other's shortcomings, overcoming their own shortcomings, and living together in harmony. That is where the speech will take place, the speaking and the different things will take place to impact us, and where we will be affected. If we do not learn how to control ourselves according to the different things that we go through, then we are going to be in problems. All right? The person who perpetrates will be in problem. The person who is receiving will be in problem. So both persons, everyone is being judged. So his tool for perfecting us is the assembly. First epistle of Clement to the Corinthians. We're going to read what happens in the assembly and what is likely to happen in most assemblies when people are gathered together in the end times. Because remember, what happens is that we have been brought up out of the midst of Babylon. And we have been brought up with the old, what you call it now, the old traditions and everything polluted of Babylon is in us. And when we come together, it's going to be a clash. That is a problem. Let's go to 1 Clement 40 verse 1. We're going to see what happens or what is likely to happen in the New Covenant assembly when people are gathered together. 1 Clement 40 starting at verse 1.
Forasmuch then as these things are manifest beforehand, and we have searched into the depths of the divine knowledge, we ought to do all things in order, as many as the Master hath commanded us to perform at their appointed seasons.
So when we come together, there must be an order. Everything must be done in order. And Clement is going to show us the importance to the Most High of order. The Most High is not the author of confusion, as in all assemblies of the saints. Wherever the saints are assembled, he has an order. But because we are coming from Babylon and we have this rebellious thing from Babylon, it's going to be very hard for us to be in order. Verse 2.
Now the offerings and ministrations he commanded to be performed with care, and not to be done rashly or in disorder, but at fixed times and seasons.
So, everything. He has a fixed time and a season and an order for everything. Yahuwah is not the author of confusion. Verse 3.
And where and by whom he would have them performed.
All right, stop there. And who, where, and by whom he would have them perform. So he lays out and chooses people to perform different duties. Okay? So when you come together, every person will have their talent. Every person will have their calling. Every person will have what the Most High called them to do. And we have to walk with spiritual eyes to know and see the spiritual calling of the Most High. Because remember, it's Ruach HaKadosh that called us together. It's Ruach HaKadosh, the Spirit of Messiah, that called us together. Go ahead.
And whereby and where and who and by whom he would have them performed, he himself fixed by his supreme will, that all things being done with piety, according to his good pleasure, might be acceptable to his will.
So it is his supreme will that he himself fixed that sets the order in his assembly. So we're speaking for people who might have not yet gathered together, so we get an understanding of this. We did not get an understanding of this. We got baptism of fire. When we were brought together, we got the shock of our lives when we were brought together. You are being given the opportunity now to understand beforehand. Verse 4.
They therefore that make their offerings at the appointed seasons are acceptable and blessed, for while they follow the institutions of the Master, they cannot go wrong.
So you see, when you offer things at the right time, the Most High is not an order of confusion. Everything is at the right time and the right order. You cannot go wrong. 5.
For unto the high priest his proper services have been assigned, and to the priests their proper offices appointed, and upon the Levites their proper ministrations are laid. The layman is bound by the layman's ordinances.
So there it's showing us that there are different orders, and that there is the layman. The layman is the ordinary man that is not a part of the clergy. He is bound by the layman's ordinances, everyone by their proper ministration. Continue.
For unto the high priest his proper service. Sorry, we read that.
Let each of you.
Let each of you, brethren, in his own order, give thanks unto Elohim, maintaining a good conscience and not transgressing the appointed rule of his service, but acting with all seemliness.
All right. So this is the danger of when we are gathered together, rebellion, people transgressing the appointed rule of his service. All right. Verse 2.
Not in every place, brethren, are the continual daily sacrifices offered, or the freewill offerings, or the sin offerings, and the trespass offerings, but in Jerusalem alone.
So whatever offering, whatever sacrifices we're giving, there's only one place that the Most High says. That's the order of the Most High. So if we get up and say, we want to offer sacrifices, animal sacrifices, and we are not in Jerusalem, then we are going to err. We're going to see what he says will happen to us when we err. Continue.
And even there the offering is not made in every place, but before the sanctuary in the court of the altar. And this too through the high priest and the aforesaid ministers. After that the victim to be offered hath been inspected for blemishes.
So it's offered in Jerusalem, but not in every place, only in one place and only by one person, the high priest and his ministers. So we cannot just get up and say we're doing animal sacrifices. We bring death upon ourselves, because the next verse says,
They therefore who do anything contrary to the seemly ordinance of his will receive death as the penalty.
So if I get up and say I want to do animal sacrifices right now, wherever I am going to put myself in line for a death, because that is not the order of the Most High. That is not the will of the Most High. The Most High works in order, not confusion. Satan is the one that enjoys confusion. Continue.
Ye see, brethren, in proportion as greater knowledge hath been vouchsafed unto us, so much the more are we exposed to danger. This is a bit blurred, this one. Sorry.
Okay. Continue, verse 1.
They therefore...
The apostles.
The apostles received the good news for us from Yahusha, from the Master Yahushua HaMashiach. Yahushua HaMashiach was sent forth from Elua.
You see the order. HaMashiach was sent from the Most High. Then HaMashiach gave the apostles the good news. Verse 2.
So then, HaMashiach is from Elua, and the apostles are from HaMashiach. Both therefore came of the will of Elua in the appointed order.
The Most High always has an appointed order. Verse 3.
Having therefore received a charge, and having been fully assured through the resurrection of our Master Yahushua HaMashiach, and confirmed in the word of Elua, with full assurance of the Ruach HaKadosh, they went forth with the glad tidings that the kingdom of Elua should come.
Continue.
So preaching everywhere, in country and town, they appointed their first fruits, when they had proved them by the Ruach to be bishops and deacons unto them that should believe.
All right, so HaMashiach gave us the apostles now gave us bishops and deacons, and the word for bishop there is actually overseer, and deacons unto them that should believe. So the Most High always gives an order. So for people who will be gathered, you have to bear this in mind. Always make sure that there is an order and that the order is followed, and that those persons who are appointed to lead, that those persons are given reign to lead. Verse 5.
And this they did in no new fashion, for indeed it had been written concerning bishops and deacons from very ancient times. For thus says the scripture in a certain place, I will appoint their bishops in righteousness, and their deacons in faith.
Mm-hmm.
And what marvel, if they which were entrusted in HaMashiach with such a work by Elua appointed the aforesaid persons, seeing that even the blessed Moses, who was a faithful servant in all his house, recorded for a sign in the sacred books all the things that were enjoined upon him. And him also the rest of the prophets followed, bearing witness with him unto the laws that were ordained by him.
Verse 2.
For he, when jealousy arose concerning the priesthood, and there was dissension among the tribes, which of them was adorned with the splendorous name, commanded the 12 chiefs of the tribes to bring to him rods inscribed with the name of each tribe. And he took them and tied them and sealed them with the signet rings of the chiefs of the tribes, and put them away in the tabernacle of the testimony on the table of Allure. And having shut the tabernacle, he sealed the keys, and likewise also the doors. And he said unto them, Brethren, the tribe whose rod shall bud, this has Allure chosen to be priests and ministers unto him.
Mm-hmm.
Now when morning came, he called together all Yasharal, even the 600,000 men, and showed the seals to the chiefs of the tribes, and opened the tabernacle of the testimony, and drew forth the rods. And the rod of Aaron was found not only with buds, but also bearing fruit.
Mm-hmm.
What think ye, dearly beloved? Did not Moses know beforehand that this would come to pass? Assuredly he knew it, but that disorder might not arise in Yasharal, he did thus, to the end that the name of the true and only Allure might be magnified, to whom be the splendor for ever and ever. So let it be.
44:1. Continue.
And our apostles knew through the Master Yahushua HaMashiach that there would be strife over the name of the bishop's office.
All right. So whenever you gather together, people, it's a warning. Whenever you gather together, there will be this strife. So in the wilderness of the people, when he's going to bring you under the rod, you have to expect this. Under the rod. Disputes and all of that over the order of the Most High in the assembly. Verse 2.
For this cause, therefore, having received complete foreknowledge, they appointed the aforesaid persons, and afterwards they provided a continuance. Lost it now.
Oh, God, sorry.
That if these should fall asleep, other approved men should succeed to their ministration.
Mm-hmm.
Those, therefore, who were appointed by them, or afterward by other men of repute, with the consent of the whole assembly, and have ministered unblameably to the flock of Hamashiach in lowliness of mind, peacefully and with all modesty, and for long time have borne a good report, with all these men we consider to be unjustly thrust out from their ministration.
Mm-hmm. Verse 3, continue.
For it will be no light sin for us if we thrust out those who have offered the gifts of the bishop's office unblameably and holily.
All right, so there will be the temptation to thrust out the leaders, the gifts of the bishop's office. And it says it is no light sin for us. Verse 4.
Blessed are these presbyters who have gone before, seeing that their departure was fruitful and ripe, for they have no fear lest anyone should remove them from their appointed place.
All right, go down to 45:1.
Be ye contentious, brethren, and jealous about the things that pertain unto salvation.
So this is what we need to be when we're gathered together. We have to be contentious about the things and jealous about the things that pertain unto salvation. Verse 2.
Ye have searched the scriptures which are true, which were given through the Ruach HaKadosh, and ye know that nothing unrighteous or counterfeit is written in them. Ye will not find that righteous persons have been thrust out by holy men.
You will not find that righteous persons have been thrust out by holy men. So wherever you are gathered, this is the danger. Continue.
Righteous men were persecuted, but it was by the lawless that they were imprisoned, but it was by the unholy. They were stoned by transgressors. They were slain by those who had conceived a detestable and unrighteous jealousy.
Verse 5.
Suffering these things, they endured nobly.
All right, so this is what you are to expect when gathered together. Strife, Verse 46:5 says, strifes, wrath, factions, divisions, and war. All of these things are possible when we are gathered together. Because the Most High says he's going to wrought in us for his name's sake. He's going to bring us into the wilderness of the people. Speech of the people. So therefore there is going to be problems. He's going to plead with us face to face. He's going to judge us one by one for what we have done. Or if there are any questions, please leave them in the chat as we remind you, so that when we go back, we can go and check what it is in the chat. So he says in Ezekiel verse 27 now, I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. Into the bond of the covenant. Cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. Now, what it actually means, you will go through the rod, we will go through all the problems, but then he will bring us into the bond of the covenant in the end. This is the prize that is in the end, if we overcome. So let's see what it means to be brought into the bond of the covenant. Let's go to, watch this, H631. The bond of the covenant, that word bond there is H631. Let me get the meaning. It is the Hebrew word asar, which means bind, prison, tie, prisoner. Now, the bond there, no, I think there is another root word. But this is the actual root word. But I'd have to go back. All right. This is the root word for it, which means to tie, bind, or imprison. So remember that he says, with fury poured out, he will rule over us. With fury poured out, he will rule over us. So he will bring us into his bond as his prisoners. That's what the bond means. When we are brought into the covenant, then he binds us. He ties us up to him. It says to be taken prisoner. We are taken prisoner by him. Now here is the scary part now. Verse 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels. Read it please. Verse 38.
And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Yasharal, and ye shall know that I am Yahuwah.
All right. I will purge out from among you the rebels. Let me get it. Ezekiel. What verse is that? 38?
38. Ezekiel 20, verse 38.
All right. Let's look at the meaning of purge. Verse 38. And I will purge out. The meaning of the word purge out there is the Hebrew word barar, which means to purify, select, polish, choose, purge, cleanse or make bright, test or prove. So he will select the rebels. He will purge the rebels. To purge out, to purify, to choose, to select, to cleanse, make shiny, all right. To test, to prove, to purify oneself, to purify, to show oneself pure, just, and kind. So he will purify the rebels, nope. He will purge out the rebels. He will choose the rebels. He will select the rebels. And what will happen when he selects the rebels? He says, I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Yasharal. That's what's going to happen to the rebels. So it's not a cleansing of the rebels. It's actually a purifying, a purging out of the rebels. Let me see if there is a root word for this to get more understanding of that. Of the purging out. Oh no, there's not a root word for that. Alright? Purge out the rebels. Let's look at the meaning of rebels. Rebels H4775. It is to rebel, revolt, be rebellious. To rebel or revolt. It can be against human king. It can be against the Most High. Against light. That's poetic. So to be rebellious. Those who are rebellious against the Most High. And against human king. Those who are rebellious against the Most High will be purged out, will be taken out. And those that transgress against me, let's look at the meaning of that as well, as we touch down. Them that transgress against me. So the transgress there is rebel or revolt or offend. Transgression, trespassed. So what is this all saying? That all those who refuse to go according to the Most High's will, when he brings us into the wilderness of the people, into the speaking and the active community of the Most High, those who rebel and continue to rebel, he will purge them out. He will take us out of the land. So we say we have fled, but this is not the way at all. We have to be perfected. If we don't allow ourselves to be perfected, if we don't allow ourselves to be changed, then we will be purged out. So people over in that side of the world, the second Exodus that many of us talking about, a lot of people over that side of the world have been speaking about the second Exodus, but we have no idea what it entails. It is not a joke. It's not a stroll in the park. It's not Most High is going to come for us and we are going to enter the kingdom. It's not like that. It's an arduous process of refining, cleansing, transformation, correction, rebuke, reproof, struggles, trials, tests, tribulations, suffering, a whole host of different things. But the good thing about it is his provision, his mercy, how powerfully he shows up himself, the great rest that he gives us throughout all the trials, and to make it even better, the promises that awaits us in the end. So, the things that we go through to perfect us, it will be worth it after all. So let's conclude with the last 5 verses, verse 39 to 44. So after the Most High told us that, he concluded in this manner. Ezekiel
20 verse 39.
Yeah, 20 verse 39. So please put your questions in the chat. Read it, please.
As for you, O house of Yasharal, thus says Yahuwah Eluah, go ye, serve ye every one his idols, and hereafter also, if ye will not hearken unto me, but pollute ye my Kadesh name, no more with your gifts and with your idols.
So he's telling you that he gives us a little leeway. Go and serve your idols. But afterwards, when I call you, if you will not hearken unto me when I call you, because you will be blinded in Babylon. Afterwards, if you will not listen to me when I call you, but continue to pollute my name, then you're going to be in trouble. Verse 40.
For my set apart mountain, in the mountain of the height of Yasharal, says Yahuwah Eluah, there shall all the house of Yasharal, all of them in the land.
Wait. All of them where?
In the land.
All of them where?
In the land.
All of them where?
In the land.
The Most High is going to gather us in the land. It is those persons who are in the land, okay, that will enter into the kingdom of the Most High. If we refuse to go into the land, then we refuse to look on the sins and the ways of our fathers. Because when we look on the sins of our fathers, we know that this is the land of our fathers. We know that there are changes that we need to make. We know that we need to go back and undo what our fathers have done. That is what we are called to do. There shall all the house of Yasharal, all of them in the land, serve me. Continue.
There will I accept them.
Whoa. Say it again.
There will I accept them.
So will not accept us there. In New York City, Florida, Philadelphia, PA, LA, Jamaica, Trinidad,
Texas,
Turks and Caicos, Barbados, St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla. He will not accept us there. All of them in the land serve me. There will I accept them. Continue.
And there will I require your offerings and the first fruits of your oblations with all your kadosh things.
Verse 41.
I will accept you with your sweet savor.
All right, so here is when he will accept us. Read 41 again.
I will accept you with your sweet savor.
When?
When I bring you out from the people and gather you out of the countries wherein ye have been scattered, and I will be sanctified in you before the heathen.
So this is when he will accept us. When I bring you out from the people and gather you, kabats, gather selves together, gather you out of the countries wherein you have been scattered, and then I will be sanctified in you before the heathen. Remember, we started off by saying that the Most High is doing this in us for his name's sake. This is what he's telling you. This is when I will be sanctified in you before the heathen. This is when mission will be accomplished, when we are brought back into the land and we have been perfected. We have gone through all that we had to go through to perfect us. Then, when this process is done, that is when he will accept us. So right now, he has not yet accepted us. We have to go through the process. 42.
And ye shall know that I am Yahuwah, when I shall bring you into the land of Yasharal, into the country for the which I lifted up mine hand to give it to your fathers.
So this is why he says he will not be inquired of by them, cause them to know the sins of their fathers. They have to go back to their fathers and undo what their fathers have done. That is when we will go back into the land. If we reject who we are and reject our fathers and our fathers' sin and forget everything about it, we cannot please the Most High because they have done something that is totally against his will and he wants it to be reversed. In us, we have to undo what our fathers have done. 43.
And there shall ye remember your ways and all your doings, wherein ye have been defiled. And ye shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for all your evils that ye have committed.
Continue.
And ye shall know that I am Yahuwah, when I have wrought with you for my name's sake, not according to your wicked ways, nor according to your corrupt doings, O ye house of Yasharal, says Yahuwah Eluah.
So his story is finished. He will wrought with us for his name's sake. And he says, that is when you shall know that I am Yahuwah. Because he's going to bring us through every single thing so that we can be sanctified in him, that we can be perfected before the Gentiles. That is the whole process. So those of us who reject who we are, don't even want to be called Israelites or children of Israel. It doesn't matter who we are, all of those things. We are in serious trouble. Because we have to go through the process and be perfected before the Most High. All right? So when, in the end times, when we are called, we are going to go through tough times. The wilderness experience, as you see with Moses and Aaron, it was not an easy road. Again, today, it is not an easy road. Very tough spiritual road. But guess what? It will be worth it after all. Because at the end, we will inherit the kingdom and we will be brought into the land. All right? All right, so that's what we had today. 2 hours and 12. It wasn't bad at all. Quick time. Anyone has anything to say before we check out the questions? All right. All right, let me go to the beginning. Shabbat Shalom, one and all. I pray we gird up our loins for the battle, spiritual and physical. May Yahuwah cover those who are worshiping rock and a mat. No. All right, not much. No. Bring us out with great substance. Can you help me understand the relationship between being forgiven of our sins as per Acts 2:38 and entering into judgment in Ezekiel 20:35? I thought forgiveness of sin meant we would not be judged. Forgiveness of sins mean we would not be judged. Acts 2:38. Repent and be immersed, every one of you, in the name of Yahushua Mashiach for remission of sins, and you shall receive the gift of Ruach HaKodesh. It says, for remission of sins. Remission means removal of sins. All right. So here's the process now. I always can't remember. We're in Romans. Romans 3 or Romans 2. It seems Romans 3. Let me get it. We're going to start off with the process. Because in Acts 2:38, it is remission of sins. All right, so we started Romans 3:25. They taught us that when Hamashiach came, he took away our sins. And Christianity has made things a big problem because they say that he removed our past, present, and future sins. But that is not so. Romans 3:25, read it please.
Whom Elohim had set forth to be a propitiation through faith in his blood, to declare his righteousness for the remission of sins that are past, through the forbearance of Elohim.
So Acts 2:38, when it says, repent and be immersed for the remission of sins, it is to declare his righteousness for the sins that are past, the remission of sins that are past. So when you are immersed, the sins that you have committed in the past are now removed. You start brand new. But guess what? You are accountable for every single thing that you now do, because you have to endure to the end. So you have to endure to the end to be saved. So your past sins are taken away, but then it becomes a long distance race, because Matthew 10:22 says,
And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved.
He that endureth to the end shall be saved. So it becomes a long distance race. So guess what? We are called not to sin. 1 John 2:1.
My little children, these things write I unto you, that ye sin not. And if any man sin, we have an advocate with the Father, Yahushua HaMashiach, the righteous.
If we sin, if we do not sin willfully, if we do not sin rebelliously, then we have an advocate with the Father. But what if we go into willful sin, total disregard for the Most High, and sin willfully? Hebrews 10 verses 26 to 27. Hebrews 10:26.
For if we sin willfully after that we have received the knowledge of the truth.
No, hold on. Go to 25, because 25 is in bearing with the teaching that we did today. That when we are gathered together, it is to perfect us. All right? So we must not forsake the assembling of ourselves together. We must always make sure that we assemble together. Verse 25.
Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as ye see the day approaching.
Verse 26.
For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins.
So after Acts 2:38 and we go into willful sin, it says, there remains no more sacrifice for sins. But what remains? Verse 27.
But a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation, which shall devour the adversaries. He that despised Moses' law died without mercy, under 2 or 3 witnesses. Of how much sorer punishment, suppose ye, shall he be thought worthy, who has trodden under foot the son of Elua, and has counted the blood of the covenant wherewith he was sanctified, an unholy thing, and has done despite unto the Ruach of favor.
So when we are immersed, when we are baptized, all right, we speak about we are under the blood of Hamashiach. This is the blood of the covenant that you take on when you are immersed. So when you sin willfully after you're doing that, this is what awaits us. Very serious, very, very serious. Of how much sorer punishment, suppose ye, shall ye be thought worthy, who hath trodden underfoot the son of Elua, and hath counted the blood of the covenant, wherewith he was sanctified, an unholy thing, and hath done despite unto the Ruach of favor. So when we sin willfully after our immersion, it is looked upon as blasphemy of the Ruach. Done despite unto the Ruach of favor is blasphemy against the Ruach. Verse 30.
For we know him that hath said, Vengeance belongeth unto me. I will recompense, says the Master. And again the Master shall judge his people.
Read 31.
It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living Elua.
It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living Elua. So when we go to Ezekiel 20 now, that you asked, laying that foundation, let's go now to Ezekiel 20, verse 35, you said? And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. There will I judge you. All right? So, we take on the covenant. But what do we do now that we have taken on the covenant? Are we going to go back into sin, into willful sin?
How do we walk in obedience then?
Huh?
We have to walk in obedience.
Yeah, we have to walk in obedience. And Peter said it again in 2 Peter 2:21. Starting at verse 20.
For if after they have escaped the pollutions of the world through the knowledge of the Master and Saviour Yahushua HaMashiach, they are again entangled therein and overcome, the latter end is worse with them than the beginning. For it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness, than after they have known it, to turn from the set apart commandment delivered unto them.
All right, so you see, it's a one-way street. It's a one-way street. John 14:15, it's a one-way street. When you take on this, you cannot fall off again, or else your soul is in trouble.
If you love me, keep my commandments. And I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you.
No. It's somebody's name is John 14:15.
Hey, it's still a good verse though.
Yeah.
If you love me, keep my commandments.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next question is someone is asking, to where should we flee?
To the land.
I can tell you where we have fled, but you will have to decide where you can flee. And the person actually says,
It's been the U.S.'s friend for years. More than friend.
what's it?
Europe has been
I was so frightened.
Oops.
Yeah. All right, let me give the person. We're gonna leave a link to the playlist that describes us, our walk. Wait, okay. No. All right. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna leave a link to the playlist.
Was that question, where do we flee?
Yeah.
Well, the answer to the first part of that is out of the middle of Babylon.
Yeah, so we left Adon Miller. Yeah, we once thought that Jamaica was the place, so but you can check out our playlist and see what the Most High had shown us, why we are where we are. So you can check that out. All right. Brian Bino says tough class, got to go over it. Yeah. So the judgment in Ezekiel 20:35 is for those who sin willfully after receiving knowledge of the truth. No. It is not for those who sin willfully. The verses told you that it's for those who rebelled against the Most High. Right, John 14:15. It is for those who rebelled against the Most High. Let's go back to it and pick out the different reasons, the different things. In Ezekiel 20, I will cause you to pass under the rod. So you have to go back and understand what it means, under the rod. And I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me. So those who are rebellious against his word and those who transgress against him, those are the people who will be purged. Okay?
And sin is transgression of the law.
Yeah. All right. All right. So, any more questions before we go? All right, so no questions. Thank you all for watching, and continue to check out Just a Word. Remember, we have our 24/7 online radio, jawradio.org, JAWRADIO.org. Our video channel where you can see all of these videos, justaword.tv. Justaword.tv. And of course, if you like podcasts, our Bible Truth Revealed podcast at jawpodcast.com, JAWPODCAST.com. All right, so thank you all for listening and watching. And until next time, shalom.
Shalom.